In one word, wonderful. Wonderful, amazing. So yeah, I mean, I went from having literally never programmed before in my life to being able to build full stack apps both by myself and with a team, which is, I don't know, that's, I think, amazing. That's insane. Yeah, so when I was in college, basically all of my friends were studying CS. They were all programmers. They were all studying to become programmers. And me, I was always very, very bad at math. And so I liked video games and I liked computers, but programming was just something I'd avoided. And so, I don't know, I guess I wanted to change careers. I just wanted a bit of a change. And so I decided, you know what, I'm 26 now, it's been long enough. Let's see if I can do this. Let's challenge, let's try. And so I did. Yeah, so actually, starting from college, I studied linguistics and Japanese in college, and I moved to Japan, and I was a video game translator. So again, just the furthest thing from, I guess, a math centered, I'd never done anything with math or just technology as a whole. Again, it was entirely writing and translation, kind of marketing stuff. It's the furthest thing from programming possible. So again, being that I was a video game translator, I was always interested in at least making my own app. Even if it's not a video game, kind of having something that I can open up my phone and I can, say oh, I made this. And I can have something that I use at the very least, and maybe something that other people use too. And, I guess actually contribute to the world with something that I made. And yeah, just the idea of being able to make something by myself that I use. I just want to make stuff that I use. I get it. The community, for a lot of reasons, for quite a few reasons, frankly. So number one is just in Japan, in Tokyo of all places in Japan, a lot of people are just very kind of cold. People don't care about you, and you're not really supposed to care about other random people. And so when you find this little nest, just kind of, hidden inside of Tokyo of all these super loving, kind, warm people, that's amazing. It's just unfound. It's unheard of in Tokyo. But also, being in this community that really kind of respects and fosters growth and this, I guess, education growth mindset. Again, that's another thing that I just think is wonderful, because a lot of the time, with the teachers, for instance, we would be working on some project, and I would come up and just ask something entirely unrelated to this, to the project. And for instance, Andy Park, or Yusuke even, they would just be all right, let's talk about that. And we would sit there and have a 20-30 minute discussion about something more or less unrelated to the task at hand. But absolutely, that contributed to my growth immensely, I feel. Having people that just are passionate about what they do and they want to teach others about that. Okay, so 2 reasons. Number one is something I find interesting, because CC kind of promotes this when you're looking for jobs, is to look for positions that have tech screening. And so when I heard that CC had a tech screening and that they don't just let literally anybody into the course, that you have to prove yourself already to even get into the course, that was that really kind of set off a big green light in my head. That is okay, so this is serious. This isn't just some random, okay, I'm gonna go learning programming over the weekend kind of boot camp. This is very, serious, high level. Also, I had a previous coworker who attended Code Chrysalis. And so I think maybe within 3 or 4 months of graduating Code Chrysalis, I got a hold of her and I said, hey, how are you doing? Have you been recently? And, she was telling me about her new job that she'd found. And same exact background as me, right? So no tech whatsoever. She was a translator. And her salary was about triple what she had been making before, which at that time was double what I was making. So hearing that, it was like, wait, it took 4 months of studying and 4 months of looking for a job to have that kind of growth. That's in under a year. Just, putting your nose to the grindstone and studying at Code Chrysalis, let her have that kind of growth so quickly that was astonishing. That's I don't know, that was just mind-blowing to me. The biggest challenge for me probably kind of comes back to the fact that I have no background whatsoever in CS. And so, of course, I think a lot of people will say like, oh, you don't need a background in CS to program. And that's true. That is very true. But there are certain sectors or like certain types of programming that still kind of require that thinking, like that kind of mindset, that way of thinking that you gain from studying, CS, that you gain from studying mathematics, that I frankly just kind of don't have right now. So kind of, I guess, like algorithmic, like logical programming is very, very difficult for me. That is very difficult for me. But I feel like after having attended Code Chrysalis, how do I put this? It's not that it's difficult and that's the end of the story. It's difficult, but if I really put my mind to it, I will be able to achieve that someday. Maybe not today, but again, like if I look back from today, if I look back right now, 5 months ago, I didn't even know what React was. I literally could not begin to write JavaScript. I could not write a single line of code. And here I am, I've made several fully featured websites and web applications. And so who knows, 5 months from now, maybe I'll look back and say, oh, algorithms, that's easy. Yeah, if you really put your mind to it for 5 months, you can do it. It's something that I've learned from Code Chrysalis.